So some of the meals that I love to make are ones that are easy to prep and easy to clean up, ideally using as few pots and pans as possible. So very often, especially on weeknights where I might not have as much time, one pot meals really become a staple of my day-to-day cooking. And this is really what led me down the path to discover more about Indian cuisine and cooking a lot of legume-based stews and dishes. So today we're gonna be doing a one pot Dal Makhani. Now, side note here, technically there is a second pot because we have to make rice. But let's pretend you have the rice made already ahead of time. So I'm not gonna pretend to be an expert on Indian cuisine, but what I do know is that this is a dish that stars black lentils. And generally here, you're gonna stew these down with a variety of different delicious aromatics and a bunch of colorful, beautiful spices to just make a fantastic and cohesive dish. So the first thing we need to go over is our aromatics and what we're using in this dish. Now, in a lot of Asian cuisine, you're gonna see the holy trinity of ginger, scallions, and garlic, and this is no different today. So we'll be using some grated ginger, some scallion whites for sauteing, and we're gonna save the greens for garnish, and some minced garlic as well. Now, if you wanna add heat, you can add any kind of chili you want. Today, I will be using some diced jalapeno, and I'm also gonna be dicing a white onion and adding this to the pot as well. Now, traditionally, like I said, this dish is made with black lentils, but it also contains kidney beans. So this particular preparation is a little tricky because the lentils are uncooked, but the kidney beans are out of a can, so we're gonna be doing them kind of at separate times. And if you wanna use all canned beans, you can do that as well. Just the cook times will change slightly. Now, we got a variety of different flavor agents here as well. Things like tomato paste, garlic powder, ground cloves, smoked paprika, and some ground cumin. We're also gonna be using garam masala, which is more commonly used as a finishing spice. So basically, we're gonna be adding it towards the end of the dish, whereas we're gonna add the rest of the spices in the beginning, as we'll get to later. And this is what I've learned is the difference between using a curry powder and garam masala. So if you're gonna be using a curry powder, you're gonna be using it earlier on in the cooking process, whereas garam masala you use basically when the cooking process is close to finish. So let's get right to it. So in a large skillet or pot, we're gonna add a little bit of extra virgin olive oil or vegetable stock to saute with and set it to a medium-high heat. We're gonna add all of our aromatics and stir this to combine, cook them evenly. We wanna cook this down until our onion is translucent, about 4 to 5 minutes. Then we're gonna add all of our spices here except for the garam masala, so we're gonna hold on to that. We're gonna toss everything to combine and stir until the entire dish becomes more aromatic. This is going to take about 45 seconds to a minute. Make sure you continue to stir to avoid burning the spices. Once this is done, we're going to add our lentils and our water. Since these are uncooked, we're going to cook these down for about 15 minutes until most of that water has burned off and those lentils become tender. If you need to add more water, now would be a good time to do it as well, but you can kind of adjust as you go. Once this is done, we're going to add our tomato paste and then our cooked kidney beans. And usually in a dish like this, you're gonna add butter or heavy cream to it. Obviously, we're gonna go with a dairy-free option today, so we're gonna actually be adding coconut cream instead. And that's gonna add the creamy richness in this dish that is just so fantastic and just delicious. We're gonna cook this down for about 5 more minutes, and then at that point, we're going to be adding our garam masala. Now, apparently, the reason this is done this way is so those spices found in garam masala really come through and become a more forward note in this dish. So once that garam masala is incorporated evenly, it's gonna be time to plate. And you can serve this with brown rice, you can serve this with sweet potatoes if you want. This makes for a fantastic meal prep because it'll freeze well. Today, I'm just gonna be serving it with some brown rice, some chopped parsley and scallion tops, and garnish it with a lime wedge because this could definitely use a little bit of acid, and I like it coming through at the end, which is why you garnish very often with something like a lime wedge. And to me, something like this is the perfect easy weeknight meal. Cleanup is minimal because you're only using one pot or pan. It's so easy to make extra and then have it maybe for lunch the next day, or you can freeze it for a quick dinner, maybe next week or down the road. And of course, it's packed with a ton of flavor from all the different spices, the aromatics, and it all just comes together so nicely, and I could not recommend something like this enough, particularly if you're strapped for time. But that's all we got for this week. Thank you for tuning in, and I will see you guys next Thursday.